What's up, mamas? I'm Rebecca. You're watching the Reseller Mom Show. Thanks for joining me today for another episode of Reseller Momversations. I'm so excited to have Amanda here today with me. She is North Coast. I want to make sure I get it right. North Coast Style on Instagram, north.coast.style. Thanks, Amanda, for joining me. I would love it if you could introduce yourself for everyone, and then we'll get to our chat.
Yeah, I'm North Coast Style. I live in Cleveland, which is the North Coast of the United States, hence my name. And I sell full-time on eBay. I've been doing it for 2 years. I just started on Poshmark actually last month. And it's been doing amazing. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. And formerly, I was a teacher. I taught music K-8 in Cleveland. And I did that for 8 years. It was great, very rewarding, but very emotionally draining. And I had to just end up putting myself first. And this is the way that I was able to do that. And also to put my son first, because I wasn't spending enough time with him. I would come home and I would be crabby and he would be crabby. And it just wasn't fair to either one of us. So I had to do something different.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I think that's a lot of people would be able to relate to that story. And I saw that at first because you have that as one of your first things in your Instagram bio was, former teacher turned, or however you worded it. My mom was a teacher for 38 years in 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade in social studies. So I remember as a kid going, and the kids used to be older than me, and then they were the same age as me, and then they were younger than me, and just always having that relationship with my mom and the kids that she taught and helped her in different ways. Like I would mark papers and stuff for her. I loved marking things wrong. but maybe in music you didn't have that as much. It was more experiential, but I loved that she was a teacher. But yes, I mean, there's a good amount of your day as a teacher that isn't the classroom stuff. It's all the extra stuff. And yeah, you get summers off, but you're still doing things and preparing and curriculum and whatever. And your day when you're there is even more chaotic than if someone worked a 9-to-5 corporate job. You don't get to go to the bathroom. You have certain periods that you have to do certain things. Like your day's not really your own. So I totally get that if you had, and I'll ask you about the age of your child and stuff, but when you are coming home, how you would even have, your cup has got to be all used up.
Exactly. That's exactly what was happening.
Now, how old is it? A little guy or little guy?
Yeah, he's 2.5.
Oh, okay. Okay. Awesome.
Yep.
And so you were teaching before you had him. You had him, continued to teach, and then decided to do the reselling.
Yeah, after the first year that I had him, I was like, I got to do something else. So in January, I was like, I'm going to do this part-time. So I was doing it part-time. And then I was like, I could do this full-time. Like I'm making almost as much part-time as my teaching job. I'm like, at minimum, I can make as much as my teaching job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Why not make the jump?
How did you find out about it to begin with, that it was even a thing? You know someone locally that does it, or you stumbled on a YouTube video, or what was it?
Well, I started out selling my own things. So I was really big into the Lululemon community and the Lily Pulitzer community, where I would resell my own clothes at almost as much as I paid for them. So I was not really ever losing money on my own clothes. Right. And I was like, wow, I bet I could do this. And then I started getting into LuLaRoe. I never sold LuLaRoe, but as a teacher, it was really popular. And I started being like, wow, there's rare pieces that people are looking for. Yeah. And so I started out trying to find rare pieces, and I was selling LuLaRoe for $80, $100. It was crazy, which does not sell like that anymore. So don't pick it up. I'm telling you this now.
Yeah.
Don't take that as a tip. But back then it was selling, and that was only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was just selling what I knew first. And that's my biggest tip too, is when you start out, sell what you know first. My husband is selling his old toys and some of his clothes, his North Face jacket and stuff like that, stuff that Yeah. And then from there you can move on and expand your knowledge and just keep growing.
Yeah.
So I never started from like knowing all this stuff. Like I learned all the brands and everything after the fact.
It's a moving target with learning stuff. Like, I mean, unless you really say like, I'm going to only focus on, cold climate jackets, and then you can really dig in and know everything, and then it will change maybe more slowly. But if you're just a wide clothing seller, I don't know that you could ever know everything, and it's always change because things are going to go in and out of style. And for me, I'm not a fashion person. Like I never claimed to be like, I always tell people, I'm like, I'm in my mama form. This is what I basically wear all the time. Like it's the same thing. And I get excited about fashion because of the purpose of reselling. Like that, I know it's bringing money. I'm not like, oh my God, look at the structure on that, whatever.
Right.
And like, no. But, that's for a younger version of me, perhaps. But not.
I know. Me too. I'm like, man, my 20-year-old self would rock this so hard. But no, not now.
So tell me about, because I didn't realize that you weren't on Poshmark as long as eBay. I saw that you had the both, and I've seen that you have, amazing posts of great brands that you find. So we'll talk into like the sourcing of it in a second, because I'm always curious about that. But why were you just eBay and then only just recently decided to do Poshmark, and what was the tipping point for like, what was that about?
So when I was selling my own clothes, I actually was on Poshmark a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So I've had Poshmark since 2013, but I barely used it. Like I said, I only used it for my own things back then. And I was just really discouraged by the lowball offers. Yeah. Can you trade? And it just wasn't for me. Like the constant sharing is still something that I just can't get into. Yeah. And I have had eBay since 2001, again, just selling my own things, just buying my own things.
Right.
And I think with my personality, eBay just meshed with me more. And I was able to manage it more easily and not have to worry about as much lowball offers a lot. I could just set my price. I didn't have to take offers, and I really liked that aspect of it. Shipping never really bothered me because, again, I started out selling my own stuff for several years, so like I knew my way around shipping.
Right.
And that's the problem that most people can't seem to get around.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it is intimidating, and you almost feel like there's more rules. Well, at least how I did, because I actually started on Totspot, and then Poshmark bought Totspot when Totspot was just for kids clothing.
Oh, okay.
And so, I did shipping, but it was always in a platform, very simplified, very basic way. So my sister got me into eBay, and she had learned more of do it this way, do it that way. I was like, I have to weigh everything. Like, this is ridiculous. I got to pay attention to ounces. Like, it depends on where you start, right? And kind of like the other one always seems like it's so crazy.
Yeah, right. Right.
And so
they both have their problems and they both have their benefits.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, you don't have to do, like, no one has to do anything. You could just do one or the other. I think people feel the pressure to do both. And for me, I have a virtual assistant. So I have her list now on 3 platforms because I include Mercari, but before it was just the 2. So it was fine to put them on both, and they always sold equally for me. So it didn't make sense for me to only do one. But if you're one person and you only have so much time, just do the one that is better for you.
Exactly.
You can't satisfy everything. You can't let other people run your business for you. So do what is comfortable for you.
And that was the thing. I was like, I'm not struggling, so why do I need to expand? I don't really feel like I need to.
Right.
So I just stayed on eBay for that long, but I was finding that like boots and heavy things weren't selling as well because shipping for boots on eBay is like $18 to $20.
Yeah.
On Poshmark, everybody knows it's flat.
Yep.
And I've been having boot sale the past couple of weeks. I'm like, this is so great.
Yeah. I don't find many boots here in Orlando, Florida, so that's not a problem for me. I mean, I think I maybe sold 1 pair of boots, and I have 1 pair of boots that I wear, and I've had those boots through the last like 10 years since I've been in Orlando.
Have you ever worn them in snow?
Well, not even snow boots, like, dress boots, fashion boots. I'm not even, I don't even own, well, no, we went to Breckenridge. We went to Breckenridge, I bought snow boots. But no, my daily life does not include snow or rain boots.
Wow. Wow. Like, I just don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday it was 69 degrees in the morning, and I was like, what the heck is going on here? Why is it 69? But this is
oh, wait, that's cold?
Yeah, like the temperature shouldn't have a 6 in them. Like, that's crazy town. Like, why is there 6 in my temperature?
I just can't.
Oh, I know. But, now is the nice fall time, and like I'm from New Jersey, so I get it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in here for a reason. So when I'm here, then I want it to be nice weather. And
right.
We enjoy the fall because we're just coming out of the unbearable hot. And so now you can enjoy being outside. I don't mind taking Gio to the park. Like, we can have a longer walk with the dog at night, and it's not, okay, now I need to like re-shower again.
Right.
So we try to enjoy this fall that we get. And then, winter, it's never going to be crazy cold, but for us, I'm going to start wearing sweaters soon. I am going to start putting my LuLaRoe cardigan on that I have, it's going to be time soon, but I will rock the sleeveless as long as I can.
I don't blame you.
Sorry, we digress. So you got on Poshmark and you had success because you were like, okay, the shipping makes sense. And the things that I have that I had trouble selling on eBay are now flying because of the shipping. Mm-hmm. But again, and this can lead into the sourcing, you find amazing stuff. And I don't know if that's just like a good Cleveland thing, or you have some special, like, what are some of your sourcing methods? You strict Goodwill retail? Are you online arbitrage? Because I saw a lot of new with tags things. You have a lot of Lululemon. Obviously, you talked about that. So what are some of the sourcing things? Because the brands that you have are great Poshmark brands. So I would imagine you're in trouble.
Yeah, so I do as many different sourcing outlets as I possibly can. I do not do retail arbitrage. I haven't been able to get into a good avenue for that yet. It is something that I would like to do, but I just haven't found the company that meshes with me yet. So I'll keep my mind open to it in the future. Locally, since I live in Cleveland Central, I'm able to get to many different places within, 20 minutes max. Okay. So my rotation of thrift stores is very vast and wide. And by thrift stores, I also mean resale stores too. Okay. Not necessarily consignment, but buy, sell, trade type places.
Right.
So I consider those kind of like thrift stores as well.
Yeah.
And I do have a lot of new with tag stuff, and I think it's just because people just never wear the stuff and they give it up, and there it is.
Yeah.
But I have about 30 different stores in my rotation. I try to visit them all like within a month, at least once. Some more than others because they're closer to me, obviously. And then I do online sourcing as well, through many different avenues.
Okay. Do you bin?
So,
go to the bins?
I go to the bins about once a month. I haven't been in over like 3 months because our Cleveland bins was closed. It was open and then it was closed, and nobody will say why, and nobody will say when it opens again. But we have Akron, which is about 40 minutes south. And I just went there last week with my mom. It's not great. Like, I don't find the brands that I would normally post, but it's stuff that I could sell, like bread and butter. Like, they have some pretty decent shoes and stuff.
Okay.
So, but bins isn't my normal thing.
It's so amazing. You don't realize how different it is from place to place in terms of what you can find. And then we all end up on Instagram together seeing each other's posts. And it is so hard because you're like, I drool over some people's stuff. And I'm in Orlando, which I don't think is a bad spot, but in comparison to what I would find at the bins on a regular basis, or in comparison to what I would find at a Goodwill retail, I'm just like, I don't find in quantities what these other people can find. And like I said, I don't think Orlando's like in the middle of nowhere or anything. We just
No, I think Orlando's
very stylish.
Maybe you have a high amount of competition.
And it could be that too, because I will say just in my little neighborhood in Orlando, because there's, Orlando's big and spread out and stuff. Like the people that use my storage unit, I know at least 5 resellers.
Yeah.
Just in where I have my storage unit, and there's storage units all over, and this is just one little sub area of Orlando. So I can only imagine. Right. I can only imagine. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting to see what others can find. And I'm very curious about, because you do have a little guy at home. Do you bring him with you when you're sourcing? Like, how does that all go?
Yeah, so I've been bringing him sourcing with me since he was born, pretty much. When I was doing it part-time, I would pick him up. My mom was babysitting him. I would pick him up, and then we would go thrifting to find stuff after I worked all day. So he's been used to it. He looks forward to it. He looks forward to seeing his normal favorite people. It does not bother him. Good. So I source with him, not every single day. Like my mom will take him 1 or 2 days a week, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And I can go out and get stuff done a lot faster. But he's just grown up with it, so he's used to it. When he's older, I'll be curious to see what he has to say about it.
Yeah, I will too. I think, Gio's almost 4, so he's just a little bit ahead. And I always kind of say, like, for me so far that I've dealt with him, that I've had him, that like 1.5 to 2.5 were probably the hardest ages to resell and have a kid and be the stay-at-home mom with the kid and the reselling. Like, I just felt like they were independent enough, but not enough. And it was just a really difficult time, mostly for photos. I felt like sourcing, because you could shove them in the cart. And so, like, as long as you had snacks, or you brought a book for him to flip through, or you found a toy there, or whatever it was, you could keep them entertained for at least 30 to 45 minutes. You wouldn't be able to be there for hours, but you could get 30 to 45 minutes of solid thrifting done, I felt.
Exactly.
Like. And do you have any like snack things or like any tips or any like go-to things that work magic?
Yeah, so just those exact same things that you said. Find a random toy. It's a new toy. I mean, look, it's a new toy. I know it's from the thrift store, but whatever. Find a book in the book section, and that entertains them forever. Snacks. I always have a couple goldfish, or like a pouch, or like a applesauce pouch type thing.
Right.
Or like a sucker, even something. And that usually, I don't source for like 2 hours straight in one store. So I source, like you said, like for probably like 30 to 45 minutes. So it's not like a super long time, and then it breaks it up. I'll go to a different store. I'll go to multiple stores in a day, but those are my main tactics for sure. Sometimes he's even fell asleep in the shopping cart, and then I can stay longer.
That's good. I don't think Gio's ever, and I don't think I ever brought him when he was still in like the car seat where he's in rear facing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did start when he was about 6, maybe I did. I can't remember now. It's amazing how quickly you forget stuff. But I remember though, and I bet you do this because you probably have an SUV.
Yeah.
So changing him in between thrift stores in the trunk.
Yep.
Because I remember I had like 2 Goodwill bags, and he was laid out, and I would have a little yoga mat in my back, in my trunk that I could push him up. I'm so glad those days are over. So glad.
I know. That's the worst.
It's more time consuming to do it in a not ideal situation. But at the same time, I was always kind of like, do I really want to take him in? Like, I never really wanted to explore what the bathrooms look like at the thrift store. So it's probably better to just do it in my car. Though I didn't have the maybe weather conditions to combat that you might have.
That's another thing to consider. Yes.
The winter, the poor kid will get frostbite all over himself.
Yeah, that's a whole nother level right there.
So for the things we have to deal with and like even consider and think about in our normal day is just so funny.
Yeah.
I saw in your Instagram bio links tree thing, Kitizen. Are you actively on Kitizen? Is that new for you? Have you been on it a while? Because I was, and now I wasn't, and now I'd like to start getting back. So I'm just really curious of who's still in the know on there.
Yeah, I'm on Kitizen. I've been on that for about a year. I don't resell on there. I only sell my kids' clothes, and only the stuff that's higher end type stuff. I take all of his like lower end, like Old Navy, Carter's, that sort of thing, just to a consignment shop.
Right.
But I'll bundle higher end things like Hannah Anderson, Bowden, that sort of thing on there, and it sells pretty well. Shoes and boots, like little things that people are really looking for. Yeah. And I pretty much just spend the balance to rebuy stuff.
Yeah. That was the next thing I think I started after Totspot, because it was also just kids at the time. And so it felt like, okay, well, I can just cross post to these two places because that's all I was doing for a while was kids. But I just felt I just never got the lockstep of it. Like I just was just missing it. Like I knew that I had to bump. I knew I had to do share groups. I knew I had to do all of these social activities like you would be similar to Poshmark, but the lingo is a little bit different. But and I've sold a bunch of stuff. I think I have, almost 100 sales on there, but
wow,
never really, but that was I've been reselling for 3 years.
Right.
I haven't been active on it for 3 years, but it was good. And then it was like, not. And I sold a lot of costumes. Like last year, I think I just put kids' costumes on there, and that was good. So I'm toying with how to work it into my market. And so when I saw that link on there, I was just like, oh, let me see, what what that represented in your business. Because I was just really kind of curious. I need to just start if there's any kids and moms watching, and I used to call them momazins. And there's a Facebook group, like it's a whole, just like Poshmark has a whole thing, like Kitizen has a whole thing. It's obviously not as big, but yeah, there's a Facebook group and there's lingo and the whole thing. And so if there's anybody out there that's like super duper, reach out to me and then I'll interview you just about that. Cause I think more people want more avenues for kids' clothes because we come by them. You want to be able to work it into your model, just not as profitable, right? Like
that's the thing. It's just, I'm like, it's not worth my time. Yeah. So I don't invest a lot into it. I literally don't do any of those things you just talked about.
Yeah. The things
I just list stuff.
Now has been the costumes, which I'm going to debate after this year if I'm going to keep up costumes or not. Dance costumes, the princess costumes, the Disney princess costumes, and snow gear for kids, the whatever, the pants.
The overall thing.
Yeah. Boots, things like that when I do find them. So, there's some small things, like if you find a kid's North Face and stuff like that, like those things have this Under Armour, I'll pick up like those because I can find it easily and it'll sell. It's not going to sell for a ton, but it'll still sell.
Yeah.
So, there's key kids stuff that you can do, but yeah, all your Carters need to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I just send them to the resale store and it is what it is.
and yeah, we have a few Once Upon a Child. I don't know if that's what you have out there.
Yep, that's where I take my stuff.
And for the most part, it's good for your own things. I've yet to really find a way to, like, if I want to always buy stuff at the bins that are kids and then bring it there, but I don't always think that the profit margin is there. So I more use it as if it doesn't sell, then I'll bring it there to recoup something.
It's funny that you mentioned that because when I was at the bins last week, I just hit this insane haul of like really nice girls, size 6 dresses and cute stuff and like good brands. I'm like, I'm picking this up to get my consignment shop.
Yeah.
Because I think will make money for me per pound at my bins. It's only 99 cents per pound over 30 pounds. And I did over 30 and I was like, I'm taking this.
Yeah. I think if you can, and do you have your reseller where you're no tax or tax anyway over there?
There's tax. Yeah. 8%.
Yeah, because I have my reseller certificate, so I don't get taxed, which there normally would be. But we're $139 a pound. So that's why for me, I'm like, yes, it's less than a pound, but it really has to be like less than half a pound if they're going to give me $1 for me to kind of make 30 to 40 cents on it. Whereas if you're at 99 cents and your things are definitely going to be about a half a pound to a pound, and they're going to give you $1, $1.25 or more, then you should be okay. But,
I don't think I'll lose money, but I'm not going to be making like millions or anything.
Right. Well, and the thing is too, and I've been thinking about this more, and hopefully I'll put out some more content on this around this soon. But like if you're already somewhere, what else can you do to maximize the profitability of that action? So if you are at the thrift store and you're looking at clothing, what else can you do to maximize that besides what you're doing, so that you make the use of the mileage, if you pay tolls, the fact that you're there, and your time, you're just incrementally adding a little bit more time for possibly more optimal sales, So if you didn't normally pick up clothes, but you're already at the thrift store, if you added kids' clothes to it, is that going to help you significantly or not? Maybe.
I think at the bins, yes.
At the bins, yeah.
At the regular thrift store, probably not as much.
Yeah.
Because if you found something great, you would want to sell it online.
Right.
Unless it was like a sale day and you were getting stuff like a bag day or something, maybe.
Yeah, which we don't have that. And it's been a while, because Once Upon a Child by Us does 25-cent days. Like they'll do a clearance all the way down where it's $1 day, then it's 50 cents. And then sometimes they'll have 25 cents ones. And in the beginning, when I was only selling kids' clothes, I would go to that because that was everything. Now I have things, so I don't need to go to that. But I should probably still go every once in a while and see what they have.
I know people that buy the stuff when it goes down really low and then resell it to the same store.
So there were a few things that I did that, not on purpose. It just like, I never listed it, or I was like, I don't want to list this. I'm probably, like once I started learning more, like, okay, I got a little overzealous in the buying, and now it doesn't really make sense to sell it online. But I forgot to take the tags off of some of them. So when they gave me the stuff back, they're like, we don't take these that were already on clearance. And I'm like, I know, I'm so sorry. Like I just made a total fail. So if you ever should do that, make sure you take off your stickers.
That is the key, yes.
I think it was like hidden in a very fluffy dress or something. I don't know.
Gotcha.
So as far as, we lost her. Where'd she go?
Oh, there you
sorry.
Are. Yeah, I had a call.
That your logo came up. I don't know how that happened. That was like your whole logo, your whole North Coast logo.
Oh, I'm thinking maybe I put that as my picture for this specific app.
Oh, got it. Okay. So you just have the one little boy.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm curious, because you're a teacher, or you were a teacher. You're always going to be a teacher, right? So
always once. Yep.
to have this mentality, and so now you have this little boy and you have this thing and you're home with him. I find, even though I'm not a teacher, but because I grew up with one, everything is like a teachable moment. Everything is a learning opportunity, from the numbers on the tape measure to counting items with him to the way we're looking for letters now. I mean, now because he's a little older, so we're doing a lot more letters and stuff.
Right.
The colors of the tags or whatever. Do you do that? Do you is everything
yes, I do.
A teachable thing with you?
Oh yeah, I do all that. I call him my assistant shipping manager, because he helps me put the packages into the bag, just every little thing where he can help. Like I use my teacher tactics on him, basically, of get him involved. If you're getting him involved, then he is not bored. He's not bothering you. Like he's learning something. He's feeling like he has value. So I kind of try to include him in my business, because, maybe he can help a little bit more someday, like every little bit,
Yeah. Well, and too, I mean, it'd be great to have Geo help at some point. I think I talked about, now I can't remember who it was, just being able to, I think it was Crazy Flippin' Mom, like, to see opportunity in things, to know that you can buy and sell. And I think between Gio's, in my opinion, my son is very verbally advanced. And so, so he leaves a little bit to be desired in some other areas, but I mean, he'll talk your ear off. And, you know, for boys that I see in his class, not all of the boys are yappers, you know, like they're just not as verbal. And so I'm like, even if you don't know your letters right now or whatever, like you can talk, and he knows that you can buy and sell things, that things can be sold online. Like, I'm like, even if everything goes to all heck, you have some very basic skills, even at this point in time. Like, he can go to a garage sale now and ask how much something he wants, you know, how much does it cost? And like, we've talked about negotiate. I mean, you know, silly, but you know, he's negotiated a couple of deals already. And it's just, I feel like basic life skills that so many kids don't get the opportunity to have, on top of like the actual cool things of them helping you with your business, but just the skills that you're, just the skills that you're teaching. And even if you're not actively teaching it, but you're showing it by example, and they're learning it through just generally being around you, I think is amazing. And I was just always so curious, like, because there are a lot of teacher resellers or former teacher resellers, you know, how you implement that. Cause like I say, I feel like I do it, but I don't know that I'm doing it any particular way. Like you said, your teacher tactics, like, I'm really curious, like what are there, like, can you share any? Like,
Well, I guess
that I could probably do.
I meant more of like, classroom management type things.
Okay.
Really like counting and skills like that, because, you know, I was a music teacher, so like I wasn't really doing, you know, that basic thing, but I do that stuff with my son. As far as like classroom management, like if we had a negative behavior, we would ignore it, try to redirect the behavior into something that's positive.
Right.
So if it's doing something that you don't want him to do, give them something to help, you know. Hey, I see that you are, you know, jumping on the bed and I don't want you to do that. Come here and help me throw these little papers in the garbage that I have, you know, just giving him little things to help him feel like he's valued, because he wants your attention. And you have to work when you're working so much, because, you know, he needs your attention too. That's the whole point of why I stopped teaching.
Right. Well, and I'm just really curious about this area specifically of involving your kids in your business, because I feel like would be the most helpful to people, especially with the little ones. I feel like there's a lot of us with toddlers, you know, the younger, like 1.5 to 4, because then once they go to school, then you're in a different world. And yes, you have other things to deal with. And I've had a lot of moms on now where I'm like, tell me about it when I get all day to just resell. Right. And that, like, there's no child in sight. Like, tell me about that. I'm drooling. But then they're also like, and you have to do homework, and you have to drive them here and there. So there's other things.
Right.
But this area where we're home with our kids, or even if you're not, but if you're home, I feel like you have all day to negotiate this time of, I need to work, but I also have you, and I want it to be positive for both of us. And I see on Facebook in the groups, moms just kind of like at their wits' end and so frustrated of like, the kid keeps getting involved with the photos and the lights keep falling, and it can, you know, if you decided to stay home and have reselling be a way for you to make money and be with your child, don't ruin it by making every moment so frustrating. And because then it may not have been the better thing, because then it puts this strain on your relationship that is so damaging, you know. And we're not perfect. I'm not Mary Poppins lady over here, but like, I feel like what you were saying about involving them and drawing them in and trying to make it on their level, but also it might take you 10 times as long to do the thing. But
that's the thing, yeah.
It's a happy, positive experience for your child and for you, and you're running parallel. You're parenting and you're teaching and you're getting work done. It just may not be as speedy, you know. And,
right.
And it's going to take a lot of patience. And I've yet to really figure out a way to show this. And I'm like, Gio's going to be too old by the time, like, I don't know how to, because I can't camera myself and, you know, I just can't show it all. It's so hard. The more I can talk about it with other moms, that those moms can see this, I feel like will just give them a little bit of, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm making too big a deal about it, but I feel like it's a very real issue. And
Mm-hmm.
not everyone has had a teacher in their life or to know where to go and how to go about it. So maybe we can talk more about like, and have just like a specific talk one day about it or something, because I feel like it can turn the best of intentions with staying home and reselling into a very frustrating day for both you and your child, you know?
Right. Like tips and, you know, tricks on how to, you know, manage your business efficiently without ignoring your kid.
Right.
how to balance.
Bringing them in, you know, and like things that you say, like about redirecting, like words and just a mindset and ways to go about saying certain things. Because I've caught myself on some stuff where I'm just like, I'm saying this thing and now he's saying this thing, and I don't want him to be saying this thing. You know,
right.
This is not a good way to be. At the same time, I do think it's good to teach your children patience, and that by you working from home, you're helping them to learn that they are not always the priority. They may be the priority in certain situations, but every minute that they, like, he wants to show me his Lego tower, every Lego he puts on it. I'm like, okay, like, I'm not going to run from over here all the way over there to see every Lego that you put. Show me, complete the task, and then let me see the finished product, or show me from your progress from here to here, or whatever. Like, I don't know, I'm just talking now, but I think it's very interesting, and I think you would have a similar perspective that I do on this, and we might be able to kind of unpack it a little bit for people.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so like I do most of my listing and steaming and stuff when he's taking a nap. He still takes like a 2-hour nap in the middle of the day, which is awesome. I know that doesn't happen for everybody, but to get I get my listing done in the middle of the day because that's like the best lighting time, and my husband's not home, and it's just the best time to do it. And so if he is awake, like right now, he is watching TV, like educational TV. He likes Blippi, he likes Timu Mizumi, that sort of stuff. And when he's super interested in it, he'll just sit and watch it.
Yeah.
Which is great. And I have baby gates up so he cannot come over here because I don't want him to get burned by the steamer, you know. Right. I don't want him to be pulling all the clothes down. So
you've had that talk.
I have a lot of strategery.
Right. No, that's just, because there really aren't too many things that, I mean, he's pulled the light down, but they're light. He really couldn't hurt himself, I don't think, but he's pulled the light down once or twice. And he's like gotten near the steamer, but I think he's doing it more to mess with me than he was actually gonna do it. Like, he knows he's not supposed to. So, but yeah, the steamer could be an issue.
I don't know if you can see him. He's bouncing on the couch right now, so you can kind of see like my whole gate situation over there.
That's good. I mean, I think that's great. And they need to have their, you know, we balance it too with like independent play versus together time. And I don't want him to be playing all day by himself. I don't want him to all day be watching TV, but I also don't want him to, you know, think that all day that my purpose is to entertain him all day.
100% yes.
To learn to entertain himself and find entertainment in things that maybe, because I think he has a good imagination. I think it's because you can leave them there for 10 minutes and just see what they come up with, you know, like.
Right.
And maybe not, I don't know how imagination works. I don't know if like you have it or you don't, or it's taught, I'm not sure. But, you know, I think if everyone can just explore different ways, come up with creative ways to see, like, if I play with him for 5 minutes or her, and then I go do 5 minutes of work, does that work? Or is it better that I do it when they're definitely nowhere near me? Or, you know, like you play this constant game of time Tetris where, you know, you can figure out what you can do in such a small amount of time, of whether they're occupied or completely away from you or with you right now, right?
Time Tetris. That describes my life to the fullest.
Pointing it.
Time Tetris.
Probably already copyrighted.
TM.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and now do you do anything over bath time This is my new found time.
Bath time?
Yeah. Well, first of all, maybe your husband does bath time. Do you do the bath time? And do you work in any like multitasking during bath time?
No, I do a pretty quick bath, I guess.
Okay.
My husband and I both do it. We like help each other, and then we just get him in and out, wash, and he doesn't stay in a long time. I think maybe a lot of kids do stay in a long time to play, but he just pretty much in and out.
Yeah. Sometimes Gio is like, I just want to get out, but we also, so he'll be in the bath. We FaceTime with my mom because he's in one spot, because otherwise, because we can't, my mom's in New Jersey and we're in Orlando. And so if we want to FaceTime, that requires me to be holding the phone FaceTime. And like, that's a waste of my time, Mom. I'm so sorry. I don't want to do that all day. Like, my job is not to just stand here and FaceTime with you. So,
right.
So when he's in the back, he's in one spot. And
True.
you can FaceTime with her. And meanwhile, I'm folding laundry. I'm sharing my closet. I'm sending offers to likers. If I'm taking items out of inventory, like when I clearance things, I'll be undoing the bags and undoing my thank you, cards that are in there or whatever. So I'm always doing something during bath time. And I feel
interesting.
Like, yes, bath time is a great, because they're contained. Because we still talk. I still play boats. We still play fishing, like whatever we're doing, I'm still there and right on him. But I can still get a couple things done while he's in one spot and while she's watching him play and talking to him. And so it's like this great triple threat of productivity.
Funny. That is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bath time just doesn't play that role in our lives, but I could see how that would be a good tactic.
Yeah. So, or maybe just stick them in there for an extra couple of minutes so you can get something done.
Right.
I'm trying to play with this Tupperware and dump the water and see how that goes.
Well, it's funny because he can now climb in and out of it. And he realized how to turn on he accidentally turned on the shower by playing with the bathtub head, and that freaked him out. So he's like a little bit like freaked out right now about the bath. So he just doesn't like to spend a lot of time in there at the moment.
Got it. No, that I totally get that. Gio did that at my mom's house. Our bath and our shower is separate in this house. So
okay.
And Gio is not very adventurous. He's not very risky. He would never climb it. He barely gets out of the bed. Like, he's in a regular bed now and he still stays there and says, Mommy, like, I'm awake. Like, he does. Knock on everything that is holy that he has to figure these things out, because he just stays there.
Yeah.
He's not adventurous in that way, which is great. So, but for those that have, kids that will climb or whatever, that's got to be careful of that.
Yeah.
Well, I will be mindful of your time. I definitely, not to put you on the spot, we'll talk about it more offline, but if we can maybe put our heads in, maybe it's not even a video, maybe it's just some tips that we put together or something.
That's what I'm thinking.
To talk about that more with you. I think I love doing these Momversations because every person that I have on, I feel like I connect with on something different. And, it's just whatever we can do to my thoughts and things that I figure out and your thoughts and things that you figure out are completely unique. But at the same time, there's so many people that can watch this and benefit from not everything, but one thing can really make a difference in how your day goes or how much you get done. And that's what it's all about. So I hope that people have found some things that we've talked about helpful or sparked an idea. Do you have any last minute parting thoughts, tips, or tricks or anything for anyone?
Just make sure you're posting every day, source consistently, don't get discouraged, and keep up the good work.
And be cool with where you are, because we're all in different spots, right? We're all in different things. We can all do different amounts, and it's going to be different for everyone. And Instagram's great to learn, but detrimental. So
don't compare yourself to anybody else. Think of those people as your people that are on the same level as you. They're just maybe a little bit more advanced, or they're trying to teach you something so that you can learn from that thing and elevate your game.
Right, exactly. Okay, so on Instagram, give your handle or anywhere else you want them to find you?
No, I'm just North Coast Style on Instagram, North Coast Style on eBay, and Poshmark.
You have dots, don't you?
Oh yeah, I do. I have
Let's
dots.
say it so that way they get it if somebody's listening.
So north.coast.style on eBay and on Instagram, and then just North Coast Style, no dots, on Poshmark.
Okay, great. Yeah, just so that way we say it verbally and then I'll link it. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us today. Be sure to watch all the Momversations. I do have them in a playlist, but they come live every Saturday. So we would love to, if you're interested in being a guest on one of them, DM me on Instagram at the Reseller Mom Show. And thank you so much. We'll see you on the next one.
Cool.